Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining Tammy. Listen, I'm excited about today's show. It's all about the power of a mother's love. And yes, you're going to meet the first lady of a fabulous university. All right, you'll know it when I say it. HBCU, one of the top in the country. You're also going to meet a phenomenal woman, and she's a retired educator. So listen, I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello and welcome back. Listen, I told you we have a phenomenal show. I mean, we're talking about the power of a mother's love. So first, I want to say, I know this is after Mother's Day, but it's always Mother's Day. And so I hope you all had a wonderful and enjoyable time. I know I did. So listen, I usually talk about what's on my mind. So what's on my mind today is talking to these phenomenal women. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about the coronavirus, the vaccine, all those types of things. We're not going to do that today. We're going to talk to mothers because I want to hear what they have to say. So first, let me introduce you to a mother, a wife, a daughter, a nurse, first lady of a university. She's very kind, very caring, and when you meet her, you're going to know why. She is none other than Mrs. Lakeisha L. Wormack, the First Lady of Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And yes, it is number 9 as the top HBCU in the country. And I say it's one of the best because, I'm from South Carolina. So come on out, Mrs. Lakeisha Wormack. Hello, First Lady.
Hello, Tammy. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am well. Super excited to be here with you tonight. I know we've been trying to get this together, so I am so excited about sitting here with you tonight.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, First Lady. Listen, I'm used to calling you First Lady. I mean, you're just phenomenal. And first, I want to ask you, how was your Mother's Day?
It was great. Very peaceful, relaxing. My mom was actually in town with me, so we just had a really, really nice time. So it was good.
That's wonderful. So listen, I want to get started because I know people are looking and they're saying, wow, the First Lady of Claflin University. Let's talk about your journey and where you are originally from and how you became this phenomenal woman that I know.
Oh, wow. So where I'm originally from. So I am originally from West Memphis, Arkansas. So I am an Arkansas girl, so country girl at heart. When I say West Memphis, people tend to think, oh, Memphis, Tennessee. So I'll just take a moment to explain for some. So I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, but raised on the Arkansas side. So of course, the Mississippi separates the two. My parents still lives 10 minutes from downtown Memphis. My parents are Sylvester and Shirlena Langford, so I was raised by two great parents. But I'll take this time right now just to say, in my journey, I've had some phenomenal women along the way in my journey. I am the fourth living generation on my maternal side. So on my mom's side, I'm the fourth living generation, and Morgan makes the fifth. So it is 5 generations still living currently. So strong lineage of women. And then also I'd be remiss if I do not mention my grandmother on my paternal side. And she is where I spent a lot of my time because that's where all the cousins were. That's where all the fun happened at that grandmother's house. So I spent a lot of time with her because both my parents worked. And so I spent a lot of time with her. So I learned some great life lessons from those women in my life to help mold and shape me to who I am today. I also want to pay homage to, it was Teachers Week as well as
Mm-hmm.
Nurses Week last week, going into this week. And so I had some exceptional teachers in my life. I attended Wonder Elementary School. And so I don't know if anyone is listening from back
Right.
home, but if you know Wonder Elementary School, we had a great, outstanding principal that truly and genuinely cared about each and every one of us. And I'll take this moment now to share what the motto of that school was. The motto was good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. And I still take that into my life right now. So shout out to Mrs. Aura Breckenridge. If anyone knows her, tell her I gave her a shout out because I take that with me in my life right now. So I'll just like to say and just put emphasis on it truly takes a village. It took a village to get me to where I am today. So shout out to all of the people that poured into my life from my hometown of West Memphis, Arkansas. So,
Wow.
Village, thank you. Thank you
Wow.
so much.
Wow, West Memphis. Yeah, you're right. Because when you think about Memphis, you think about Memphis, Tennessee, and like you say, your parents live 10 minutes away
From
from
downtown.
downtown.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. What I mean, for you to pay homage to your elementary school, I love hearing that, and for you to remember that motto. All
Yes.
these years now, you've remembered that motto, and that's carried you through. First lady, a lot of people don't know. I've been saying you're the first lady of Claflin University. But one of the things, even in your title, if you're not familiar with the alphabets, you're a registered nurse. You're a nurse. And I just want to know what is it like being a nurse and then becoming this first lady of the top HBCU in the country? How does that work?
How does it work? So
Yes.
I guess if you're asking about that whole work-life balance,
Yes, yes.
people like to use that term. However, I don't think there is one. I like to look at it as prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
What is important at the time? Because it is a lot to juggle the three, because you listed all the other things that I am as well. So if you all don't take anything away, don't look at it as work-life balance. Just look at it as priority. And we know that sometimes there may be, work may take priority for a second. Of course, family is always first. But
Mm-hmm.
once that family is situated, if there is nothing pressing going on with the family, of course, then your work is going to take priority and precedence over things. So as women, we try, I always like to use the term, we wear so many different hats.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to take some of those off. It gets a little heavy sometimes.
That's
You
right.
don't want, as Erica Badu, she says, bag lady. Sometimes you don't want to be the hat lady. You have to
That's right.
remove some of those hats sometimes. So
That's
put on the
right.
hat that you need to put on and take the rest of them off.
That's right. Wow. I love what you said. Prioritize, priority, and balance, and
Yes,
it really is a balancing act because I
it
can only
is.
imagine with you, as I said, you're very caring, you're a very loving person. And I know that comes across to your patients and all. And then having to come home and be home with your daughter, your beautiful daughter, and all. And we're going to talk about the whole family in a little bit. So,
I'll share
so
one thing too, Tammy. I'll throw in
yeah,
one quick thing before we move
please.
on. And I'll just say that it is truly a blessing to be a nurse and in this position as First Lady of the university as well, because it gives me an opportunity to use my expertise and my experiences to share with not only the students, but also the faculty and staff as well, and also to the greater Orangeburg community. So it has truly been a blessing just to begin to start sharing some of that information with the community. And so more to come. So there is definitely more to come, working on some more initiatives and healthcare things. So be on the lookout for that.
That's right. And we're going to have you back on so you can share all of the good news because anytime, as you said, we can help the community. And you're in Orangeburg, little small town of Orangeburg, South Carolina. Of course, they say the big town of Orangeburg, South Carolina, but you're there and you're helping the community. And to see you, and don't take this the wrong way, but to have a woman of your stature who's young innovative and can do all of the things that you have been able to do is truly a blessing for the community. And so we thank you for that. I tell you what, I'm so excited to have you on the show. And then, of course, having the next guest is going to be even more exciting. So let's look at this. You know, I've started kind of wanting to talk to you about your profession, but really this is about the power of a mother's love. When you hear that term, what does that mean to you?
When I hear that term, Tammy, I think of I would say maybe a couple of words. I would use the word impactful or impact, and also just powerful. I know we said the power of a mother's love, but it makes such a mother's love is so impactful on the trajectory of a child's life. If you've ever seen someone or know someone who yearns from or yearn for rather a mother's love because they didn't have that, it just truly shapes the person, I think. Of course, there are some people that have been without their mothers and had to have those to step in as mother figures to pour that into them and to pour that love and give them that love. And so, people say it all the time, I love you, but love is an action as well. You say it, but then you also have to show it because you want to affirm that. We need that affirmation. You want to say I love you, but also what are you doing to show your child that you love them? So
That's right.
just making sure that you say it too, because sometimes people will grow up and never hear it. You hear
That's
sometimes
right.
people say, well, my mom or my dad or whomever, we're talking about mothers specifically.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, they never said I love you.
That's
So
right.
you just
That's
want to
right.
make sure that you are saying those words
That's
as
right.
well,
You know,
because
I
it
want
is
to,
truly impactful.
it is, and I want to show a picture of you because the next question has to do with that. This is a beautiful picture of when
Thank
you were
you.
pregnant. So the question becomes, were you ready to be a mother, or what were
Whew.
some of the, what were some of those things that you said you would or would not do as a mother? Tell us about that.
How much time do we have for this
Well,
conversation?
you got some time. You've got some time, First Lady.
So honestly, the answer is both yes and no. You say, you make up your mind, that you're ready. And of course, when God's time and it's God's time and it happens. But when it happens, and if you ask Dr. Warmack, he'll share this story too. Honestly, when it happens, you experience so many different emotions, and you begin to feel like, am I really ready for this? I don't know if I can handle this. There's no book for this. There. How am I going to know what to do and all of that? So I say yes, I was, but really no, I wasn't. I didn't want to hear anyone's stories about what happened in the delivery room or anything like that. I just wanted to experience it for myself. But when I say I thank God, I had a great pregnancy,
Mm.
no issues or anything, just smooth sailing pregnancy. Excuse me. And it has just been a joy, an absolute joy to be Morgan's mom. And so there are some things, you say, oh, I'm never going to let my child do this. I said, oh, she's going to be on a schedule. She's going to, go to bed at this time and that time. That goes
So
out of the window.
that's right.
So you say all these things. Oh, no, she's not going to watch TV this time of day. She's all types of things like that. So my main concern is, as long as she's an excellent student, a respectful child, she pretty much can do pretty much what she likes to do
To do.
within reason, of
That's
course.
that's right.
Yes.
Well, I want to show this picture while you're talking because we have a picture of your family right now. There's President Warmack and little Morgan and you. I mean, a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
And so, when I think about looking at the three of you and I'm thinking about Morgan, I'm like, okay, wow, I know that must have been something. And here she is again. Um, Beautiful Morgan.
Thank
I
you.
tell you, beautiful. And this
That
now,
So
That's it.
that is one of our favorite pictures. We took that picture in Chicago at the Navy Pier.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
so that
yes.
is one of our favorite. For Mother's Day, she actually made that into a puzzle.
Oh,
So, yeah, so this picture, she picked it as one of her favorite pictures of us and made it into a craft, which is a puzzle.
isn't
So that
that
was one of my
beautiful?
Mother's Day gifts from her.
Oh, that is beautiful. So now we are talking about your family right now, but I want to talk about your beautiful mom. Tell us about your mother and what lessons you learned from her about motherhood.
Oh my goodness. So I would just say, if I had to start, I would say the first thing she taught me is always keep God first. Of course, when I call her and ask her anything, her first question is, "Did you pray about it?" So that's the one lesson that she taught me. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Just make sure that you're seeking God's wise counsel. Also, she just taught me about education and the excellence of education. And when I say excellence of education, I mean it. So she was the mom that told all my other friends' moms when the report cards were coming out and all that type of stuff. And so I'll give one example. I was in the eighth grade, Algebra 1. That was my first time ever making a B. It was eighth grade, Algebra 1.
Wow.
But I made an 89. That's 1 point away from an A. Tammy, you would have thought I brought home a 49 versus an 89. So I mean, it was just that serious.
Wow.
She was really serious about, putting your best foot
Hmm.
forward and excelling in education. And so, that's one lesson that I took from her that I instill in Morgan right now. It's just that excellence of education, always putting your best foot forward. And I'll say a final thing,
Hmm.
to make it short, that I learned from her is always presenting yourself well and being respectful, presenting yourself in a respectful way. Um, Example, Thanksgiving. So last year, of course, with COVID and everything like that, I hadn't seen my parents, months and months. And so they were here for Thanksgiving. And so, of course, no one was here, just the five of us, the
Hmm.
five of us here. This was the first year that we have not hosted anyone in probably, I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 years. So I didn't have to dress up. I didn't have to comb my hair, any of that.
Hmm.
So just to give you an example of always presenting yourself well, I'm just, walking around the house and we're getting ready to eat. And my mom goes, "So you're not going to comb your hair? Can you at least comb your hair?" So I'm like, "What do you mean? No one is here. I'm home." So just, even inside of your home, in the comfort of your own home. So
Hmm.
she just always said, present yourself um, well at all times and be respectful
That's
at
right.
all
Wow.
times.
All times. That's old school. All times. All times. So I'm going to show you that. We're going to show everyone this picture. That's a beautiful picture of you and your mom. So
Thank you.
so when we talk about that, do you feel that the relationship that you have with your mother has had some effect on the relationship that you have with Morgan?
Oh, absolutely. And, I think people can say what they want to say, but to some degree, whether good or bad, some people may say, "Oh, I'm not going to be like this. I don't want to take that from my, mother."
Hmm.
But as we get older, we begin to see some of the traits that,
That's right.
our mom
Hmm.
exhibited. But like I said, I know the one thing that for sure I took from my mom is just teaching Morgan godly principles. She's a prayer warrior as well at 9 years old already, teaching
Mm.
her the power of prayer, and of course, that's one thing I took from my mom. Also, when I talk about education, teaching her the excellence in education, always presenting yourself as a young lady. And it just
Hmm.
gives me such joy as a mother when someone comes up to me and I hear when they give Morgan a compliment to say, "Oh, she is so respectful. Oh, she
Yes.
has such great manners."
Mm.
That's something that I am truly, truly proud of and so happy about, because that, to me as a mom, that makes me feel like I'm doing something right. Um,
Mhm.
so I would say those are the things that I pull from my mom that I'm
Yes.
actually incorporating in my parenting with Morgan.
Wow. Well, let's talk about your parenting. What do you think is your biggest accomplishment as a mother, wife, and a nurse?
Well, I think I just made mention of what I think the biggest one as far as with Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, I hear it all the time with her. And like I said, it just brings me such joy to know that I'm doing something right as a mom. I would say as a wife, you probably would have to ask him that question, but
Well, listen, he may be listening.
but,
President, he may be listening, but yeah, but
but
I've heard him say beautiful things about you.
I would say, my biggest accomplishment, I think, is just being there for him, truly being, his backbone, his helpmate. I tell people all the time, when you don't see me, believe me, I'm in the background supporting
Mhm.
him, his biggest cheerleader, praying for him, covering him. So I would say that is my biggest accomplishment, I think, of being his wife, truly being a team.
Mhm.
And I would say, as a nurse, I would say I can't pinpoint one single accomplishment, but the thing where I feel most accomplished is when I hear patients tell me, "Oh, you don't know how much you helped me. You don't know what you told me. It saved my life." So I think that is one of my biggest accomplishments. And that's all you want to hear, as a nurse from patients, that you truly helped me, you know. Of
Mhm.
course, when we're there, if you're practicing in the clinic or in the hospital, you just don't want anyone to go on your watch. That's the accomplishment for
That,
tonight.
yeah,
But
that's right.
outside of that, of course, when a patient says, you truly helped me, thank you so much for taking care of me.
Wow, wow. Well, all of the things that you have said are the things that I think um, mothers need to share more, especially with their daughters, because your daughters are going to hopefully become mothers again. And as you said, I want to show this picture because you talk about generations. So tell me from the right to the left who everyone is.
Okay, so from my right to left, that is my great grandmother. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, that is my grandmother. Then that's my mother.
Mother.
There's me. And then there's Morgan.
Wow.
So there goes your
Five
5 generations
generations.
that I talked about. And I think we took this picture 2 years ago now. I think
Really?
yes, almost 2 years
Wow.
ago, I think, when we took that picture. So it was the one time where we were all in
Together.
one place, and we said that we had to get that picture while we were all in one place, and everyone is still living. So
Mm.
we definitely wanted to
Mm.
capture that moment, and so glad that we did.
That is wonderful. Wow. So let's talk about all the advice that you have. This is 5 generations. So what advice do you have for young mothers that may be questioning their significance as a mother now that you want to share?
Well, when I think about the word significance, it means importance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'll just say this: there, as I said earlier, there is no book.
That's right.
There are no instructions on how to do this. My only wise counsel, if you are a believer, pray about the direction in which you need to go, how you need to raise your child. If there's any type of situation to come up, always pray about it. And you are significant. You matter. The whole title of this talk tonight is The Power of a Mother's Love. And
Amen.
so your child or children need you. So just make sure that you know that you matter. And so they're looking to you. We are their
Mm-hmm.
first role models, heroes, whatever you want to call it. They look to us first. So it's up to us to set that example for them. I'm not saying we're going to always get it right, but when you recognize that, maybe that wasn't the best decision, reroute, you
Hmm.
know, listen to the GPS. The GPS will reroute you. And
That's
when I
right.
mean GPS, did you truly listen to the instructions that were given?
That's
So,
right.
go back to the drawing board, and just ask God, how would you lead me to do this? Because a lot of
Hmm.
times we think that we can do things on our own. And, I'm a true believer in, God's perfect will. There's permissive will. He'll permit us to do,
That's right.
some
That's
things.
right.
But you just want to make sure that you're always in, his perfect will.
Wow. I guess we can close out on that. I don't know. I'm not going to close out, but that's so powerful. As I said, having you on the show and knowing you and seeing what you have done for the university and with your family. I mean, you're to be commended for just being such a phenomenal woman. And I can't say that enough. I want you to leave some thoughts. I want you to give us some thoughts that you would leave our audience with, especially our young women, especially not just young women who are mothers, but young women who aspire to be mothers. Everybody says, well, I'm not going to be a mother. And then some say, I want to be a mother. What are some of those thoughts that you want to leave our audience with tonight?
Absolutely. So I'll just say this. Everything is within his timing. I'll just be honest and just be perfectly honest. I was everybody's bridesmaid. I was, everybody's auntie and bringing gifts to the baby shower and all of that. So there, don't put a timeline on it. Things will happen when God wants them to happen. And I'll just say this for the audience too. Everybody doesn't want to be a mother, to be honest. I mean, it is the most one of the most beautiful things in life that I've experienced, but that's just not for everybody, and everybody doesn't want to do it. So ladies, please quit asking sometimes, women, and this is just on my heart to say, oh, so when are you going to have a baby, or when are you going to have, your next child, or something like that. You never know what someone is going through. So just be mindful of that, because when a woman is of a particular age, it's either one or two things that's going on. Either they just don't want to because they're choosing not to, or it
Hmm.
may be something else that's going on. So I just really want to leave that tonight, since we are talking about mothers. Just
Hmm.
be mindful of, asking that question of women, because you never know what they are experiencing, if it's in, fertility issues or something like that. um, but for those who just think that they're on this race for time, it'll happen when it's meant to happen.
That's
Believe
right.
me, I know. I know.
That's right. That's right. First lady, listen, I mean, you have just shared some serious nuggets with us. You dropped some fabulous gems. And if anybody's listening, but may they get in contact with you by your email?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I
All
don't know if you're
right.
going to put it up, but it is firstlady@claflin.edu. So please
Yeah.
feel free, to reach out if you do want to get in contact with me. Again, it is firstlady@claflin.edu.
Wow. First lady, I tell you what, I can talk to you all night, but
I
I've got
know.
another special woman coming up. And I mean, I want to thank you for taking the time out, because we have been trying to do this. You've
Yes.
been very, very busy. I know about your schedule because I'm right there with you. So I know about your schedule. And just sharing all these wonderful nuggets. And to your mother, I want to tell her hello, your grandmother, your great grandmother, President Warmack, Morgan. Hey, everybody, to say hey and thank you for joining the show. Now, my last thing that I always ask, three words that describe First Lady.
Ooh, 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 three words. I would say humble. Um, humble or humble, however you want to pronounce it.
Mhm.
Um, trustworthy and practical. I would say those three words best
Best
describe me.
describe you.
And
Humble, Well, and what else?
Trustworthy
Trustworthy
and
and
practical.
practical. Wow, wow. Thank you so much, First Lady. Wow, humble, trustworthy, and practical. And I can say yes, yes, yes. I love you. I love knowing you, and I thank you. I thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you on the show today. And listen, may God continue to bless you and bless your
Thank you.
family.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Thank you, listening audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Listen, First Lady, have a wonderful night, and I will talk with you later on.
All right, signing off.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Bye
welcome.
bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Listen, I tell you what, beautiful soul. She's such a beautiful woman inside and out. The whole family. I mean, I know the whole family, just wonderful people. Couldn't ask for a better First Lady of the university. I tell you what. So we're going to come back. You're going to meet a retired educator, but she's more than a retired educator. She is a phenomenal woman, and she's very special to me. So we'll be right back.
Our roots are strong, our culture rich, our presence powerful. Our vibrant, colorful swag can be seen in everything we touch. Let's celebrate us and everything we are. The blueprint of food, music, and soul. For an immersive weekend of African American culture, dynamic musical acts, delicious food, cultural vendors, and more. Join us in Charleston for the Root of Soul J19 Fest. Low country roots, African heritage, Black soul.
All right, welcome back to the show. Listen, you just met First Lady Lakeisha Warmack, First Lady of Claflin University, and a wonderful mother, a dear person. So I have someone very special for you to meet. She is a wife. She's a widow, yes. She's a mother. She was a daughter. She is a daughter. She's a sister. She's my sorority sister, as First Lady was as well. And she is just a beautiful soul. And I'm about to cry because this is who I call my Aunt Eulalia, Mrs. Eulalia Powell. So when we talk about a power of a mother's love, this is it. Come on out, Aunt Eulalia. Hello.
Hello, Tammy. How are you?
I am doing well, Auntie. How are you?
A little bit nervous.
Well, don't you be nervous because you know
I
what?
am nervous.
No, don't
But
be
that
nervous.
presentation, I
Yes.
told my daughter, well, what am I going to say? Beautiful, beautiful person. But
Well,
I'm sure I'll find something to
yes.
say that's
Yes.
encouraging or
That's
not
right.
encouraging. But
That's
I'm
right.
very happy to be here with you, my daughter too.
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
am
Well,
very happy. I was telling Pam, and that's my oldest daughter. Now, what in the world can I say after Mrs. Womack has been on the show? But she said, "Mama, after all the things you tell me about different situations, I'm sure you can find something to say."
that's right.
So
That's
thank
right.
you for having me. I'm telling you, thank you for having me on
Oh,
because I
it's
feel quite honored. I
well.
really do.
Well,
Yes.
no, Auntie Lily, it is my honor to have you on the show. You know, as I thought about the guests that would be on the show, I said, why do I have to go outside when I can find people that are dear to my heart, like First Lady Warmack and you, and the next guest that's coming up in a couple of weeks. You know, why can I have my family and talk about it? Because we have such a rich history,
Yes.
and so I want to ask you. So, Auntie Lil, let's talk first. How was your Mother's Day?
My Mother's Day was great. Um, it was quiet. It was just wonderful. It wasn't anything exciting, and yet it
Hmm.
was exciting. Um, we went for dinner, had a great time, and of course now I'm using a cane mainly
Hmm.
for support. You understand?
Hmm.
And we
Yes.
had to get up the steps, and we went up the steps and got in and had a wonderful dinner.
Wow, that is something.
That was
And
really the first time we had been out since the virus had
mm-hmm.
been had we really been out
Yeah.
with people, you know.
Yes,
So it was
yes.
interesting. It was good. The day was beautiful, and we had a good time.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. It was wonderful seeing you. Hey, Pam, come on out, girl. Yeah, I know you're right there.
Yeah,
My
she's
dear
here.
cousin friend and everything. Come on out, girl. Hey, Pammy.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. How are you? Listen,
Good.
thank you so much for making sure that Aunt Jalelia could be on the show today. Aunt Jalelia, let's talk about being a mother because, you talk about your mother, the Trotter family, of course,
Yes.
and the relationship with your mother and family. Talk about that as it relates to how you were able to raise your three children, Pam, Debbie, and Eddie.
My mother was wonderful. She was a woman before her time, actually. She should have lived in this generation because she was doing things that this generation doesn't even think about, you know. She
Wow.
was a wonderful person. And there were 11 of us, 11 children. Now, that's a lot of children. But we all had a mother who was very, very attentive to us when she wasn't working in her garden. But she was a Christian woman. She had the Sunday school. The, everything was with Miss Mattie Tucker Trotter. She taught us everything we knew, down to medicine. She knew what herbs to put on you when you were ill. She knew what dress that you should wear, fit the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
She knew everybody in town, and everybody knew her. So by that, we were fortunate
Mm-hmm.
because we knew everybody that Mama knew, and it was good. We had a good life with her. She was a person that did not take any mess, excuse the expression. What she said wasn't always correct, but she made you think that now you listen and this is what you should do. Most of the time, it turned out just as she should say. She was a small woman,
Mm-hmm.
feisty as she could be, but truthful woman. And we
Wow.
knew, the children knew, we knew that what she said was not just a farce, it was something that she truly believed in. She was a good mother,
Mm-hmm.
a good example of a mother, what we thought was a good. I really have fashioned most of my training for my children from what I learned from my mother. Because after all, I didn't have any children. I didn't know how to rear children.
Yeah.
And that's the background. You use that. You
Mm-hmm.
use the things that, particularly the things that you remember were good. So you use those. That's what I did. I reared my three children basically on my mother's principles.
Yeah, I think I have to say, I think you reared all of us.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes.
I
I think I did too.
I think you
I
did.
think
I
I
think you
reared
did
you
really
too,
good.
you know,
You,
and I'm proud of that.
yes, ma'am.
You've all turned out to be great ladies
Well,
and
thank
great
you.
sons, all of you, and
Well,
I'm very proud of that.
yes,
And of
ma'am.
course, I love my job as a classroom teacher. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was fulfilling. I was a young person when I went to teach. Uh, I'm not going to tell you how old I was, but I was a young person and very anxious to do something great. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I did. I'm not bragging, but you know how
I know what
when
you're
you
saying.
when you speak of things, you must praise yourself sometime,
That's right.
particularly if you think you did a good job. And
And
I
you
and I
did.
think I did. I
You did.
really did.
I remember going on a trip. We all went on a field trip. I think it was to Brook Green Gardens or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And you
Mm-hmm.
took your class. I think Pam and we were able to go. Um, if I remember correctly, and we were young, but I do remember in the trips to Disney World. We went to
Yes.
Florida to Disney World and
Yes.
all. And so the training that came along with that. So my question to you, Auntie Lily, is how important do you feel that a mother's love is?
It's number one. You were talking about priorities. Being a mother was my first priority. And doing the things for the children to let them know that you're loved, that you're worthy, no matter what someone else may say, you're worthy of being a person that's lovable and that does good things for other people. And that's what all of my children, including you, we did great things for other people. And that was important. That's important in life as a mother.
That's
You
right.
cannot be selfish. You have to share what you know and share the things that you shouldn't know so that you will know the difference between the two.
That's
And
right.
that is important.
That's right.
You can't just throw things off because they don't concern you, because they do concern you. You're a mother, you're there, you're a teacher, you are in the church, and all of those things are important things that make you the role model that you are. I'm not saying that you should be, but that you are.
Yeah.
That you
Wow.
are. Because they're
Wow.
watching you, and well, do you know it?
That's right.
And they pick up what you do as good, and you try to do what you think is the best. And
Yeah.
that's the way I taught you, my three children,
That's right.
even though you may not have liked, what was going on. But in the end, I think it was well worth
Yeah.
the fight.
I think we turned out
Yeah,
pretty good. What you think,
yeah.
Pam? Think
Me
we turned
too.
out? Think
Yes, we
t-
did.
Okay, we turned out pretty good. So Pam,
Yes.
tell us what makes Aunt Eulalia so special as a mother to you?
Because she listens to us. She listens.
I can't see you, Pam. Come on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
um, she listens to us and she gives us good advice, even though we may not always take that advice.
Yes.
But she gives us the advice, and then, eventually we think about it and we really act on it. Um, my mom is, like you always say, your mom is your best friend. My mom is my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't say any more to that. I'm always, we talk every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And it's a great thing having a mom.
Yeah. And you've been home. I have to let the audience know you live in New York. In
Yes.
the big city of New York.
Big Apple.
The Big Apple. And you've been home now for almost 3 months. Two
Yeah,
months.
going on 2 months.
Yeah.
But
Almost
I have been
working.
able to work from home and also take some time off. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
spend time with Aunt Lilia. And people, if I'm talking to Aunt Lilia, we're having this conversation. But I'm gonna tell you what, my Aunt Lilia has the best sense of humor. I think if she had another position or another job, career, it would be an entertainer, a comedian, because Aunt Lilia always has something funny to say. Always. So, Aunt Lily, let's talk about your relationship with your mother and how that affected your relationship with your children. Because you did mention that the things that she taught you, you used in rearing Pamela, Debbie, and Eddie. And so, did you feel and looking at your relationship with your mother and correlating that as you look back on your life? Some were good, some were bad. How do you see that and how it's affected you and the children?
I think I patterned most of my, not most of my life, but most of the principles that I try to live by, and the principles that I try to instill in my children. And I know it came from my mother, because she was the light of my life. I wouldn't, my sisters and brothers would say, you don't tell your mother everything. But I did, because I figured that she would be the one that I should tell so that I could know what action to take. So
Wow.
consequently, I leaned upon her to tell me the right way to go. And most of the times, I adhered to that. And I did the same thing with my children. Uh, I took the time to tell them about the herbs that she used, the
Mm-hmm.
food that she cooked, how she stretched the food uh, to fit 11. Well, we didn't have 11 all at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
because there were some that were younger and some that were older. But my younger sisters and brothers, we followed what our mother had taught me, and so it was it was just what I did, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any other anchor. She was my anchor
Mm-hmm.
all along,
Yeah.
and I
Wow.
I lived for her, and she lived for
For
me,
you.
and
Wow.
so that was being my anchor was everything, and my
Wow.
mother was one of those persons. I know you've met my mother, and you know how direct she is,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't mind telling you things, but she also listens,
Yeah.
and that's different. My
Yeah.
children listen. I tell them things because I like for them to know about their parents, about their grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm old enough to know that I wasn't fortunate enough to know my grandparents, but I really knew them through my mother,
Mm-hmm.
because she'd tell us all about what they did as children. And I think we used to make mud pies. And that was based on the fact that when they were little, they played in the yard and
Uh-huh.
there was water and stuff. They made mud pies and pretended to eat them.
Oh my goodness.
We made mud pies. My children made mud pies. So you can see how that's
Yes.
linked with my
Generation.
mother.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's right.
Generation. So,
Yes.
so Aunt Eulalia, I just like I asked the first lady, Pamela is the firstborn.
Yes.
What was that like for you? I mean, I asked, and we all as a mother, with
Hmm.
Catherine, were you ready to be a mother, or
Oh yes, I was ready to be
you
a
was
mother.
ready?
Oh yes, yes.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to get any older. You see,
Uh-huh.
I thought
Mm-hmm.
you should get married and have children while you're young and feel like taking care of them. And I was in that mode, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said when we got married, my husband and I said we're gonna have 5 children. Can you
Oh,
imagine? But
oh, oh,
I always
5.
tell the children, I don't know why we chose the number 5, but that's how many children we were going to have. We knew we were going to have 3 boys and
Uh-huh.
2 girls. We didn't have that, but
You got
uh,
2 girls and one
yeah,
boy.
yeah. But I enjoyed my pregnancy. I enjoyed all of them
Mm-hmm.
because I was looking forward to having children and rearing children.
Rearing children.
Because
Right.
I always loved children,
Mm-hmm.
loved them, and I knew I could caress my children and soothe them, which I think I did, and they would be happy. I
Yeah.
think in most cases they were happy,
And
and
the same with Catherine. I mean,
yeah,
I remember bringing
mhm,
everything when Daddy was in the hospital and
yeah,
having to go at the moment's notice, and I
hmm,
had her bags packed. And you said, "Well, is the child staying?
yes,
Is the
indeed
child
you
staying for a
did.
week?"
Each time she had enough for 5 or 6 months, not days. But she was a good girl. Uh,
Yeah.
Catherine uh, loved her mother, and her mother loved her.
Oh yeah.
And I loved all of them.
Yeah.
And basically, it was based on what I had learned from my mother and uh, and people around me, because
Yeah.
I was reared in the church, and you
Mm-hmm.
know when you're reared in the church, you've got to be a good person,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise they won't take you.
That's
So
right.
we and coming from a small town, that was all you had to do. go to church, go
Mm-hmm.
to school,
Cool. Yeah.
play in your yard,
That's right.
get in before dark,
Dog. That for the
certainly
street like
before
that.
7,
That's right.
those were the rules that you followed. And you didn't deviate
No,
because you
you.
knew what the consequences was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But all
That's
in
right.
all, my life as a child and as a mother, as a wife, was wonderful.
Right.
Naturally, things aren't going to always be the way you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when the patience, the consideration, the love comes into play.
That's right.
And then that's when you should have sense enough to know how to judge those things and to work them out. Working
Mm-hmm.
things out,
That's
being
right.
comparable to each other. That's a good thing.
That's right. Well, Auntie Lilia, let's talk about because we're gonna run out of time, but I mean I'm enjoying this because you are giving us as I said, First Lady gave us a lot of nuggets. You're giving us a lot of nuggets about life and about motherhood. Talk about the lessons that you want to leave with the audience today. What are some of those things about motherhood that you'd like to share with our audience today?
First of all, love your children. And I don't mean just giving them things to show that you love, but love them from your heart. Let them know that every day in some way that I love you. You're important to me. You're mine. Because my thing was, these are my children, and I'm responsible for them, how they grow up. I'm responsible for their attitudes toward life, toward other people. So you've got to love them. You've got to share with them. You've got to tell them right from wrong and hoping that they will choose the right thing. Most of the time they do. And you have to sort of plan your activities with your children. You just can't have them and just put them on the shelf. You have to plan things for them. Trips, dinners, little trivial things that they enjoy.
Yeah.
And they will remember them because Pam remembers everything.
She sure does.
She can tell me, and I said, well, when did that happen? And she can tell you. But I think the main thing is love, compassion, activities that you can do with them. It can be a crossword puzzle. It can be working puzzles.
Reading books.
Anything that's stimulating to the mind.
That's right. Wow.
And what did I say? Love.
You
Compassion.
said love, plan
Love,
activities, compassion.
Activities that they love and you love. And knowing their friends that may not be important to some people, but knowing your children's friends, who they associate with and how they get along and where they live. A lot of people don't think that's important, but that is. You want to know their surroundings and you want to know what they really like. Find out what they really like.
That's right.
And try to beam in on that.
Nurture that because you did that. You did that with Pam and Debbie and Eddie. As I'm looking at how we have grown up, Pamela, and seeing Debbie now is that her love was horses and riding and animals. That was her thing. She didn't want you to kill the roach, did she, Pam? She didn't want you to kill the spider.
No. And she grew up with that from a little girl. She was riding horses when nobody else was even thinking about it.
That's right.
And that had been her love, and she still dwells on it. I often tell her, I said, I think you love those horses better than you love people. But she said no, but she has a lot of compassion for them.
Yes, she does.
And having compassion for wild animals or what other tells you that the
Excuse me.
compassion is there for everybody, and that's the way she does. And same thing with Eddie, and same thing with you, the same thing with little Catherine.
Yeah,
You all are all compassionate people,
yeah.
and I think I sort of helped you be that way.
You sure did. And
Yeah.
Pamela, especially with Pamela, Pamela's very organized. And she got that from you. Pamela is
Very organized.
Pamela is
Yes.
an organized person. I mean, to the
Yes.
T. And
Oh,
I know she got that from you, Auntie Lilia.
yeah.
Because
Well,
there's
she got
no
a little
way.
bit that from me too.
Yeah,
If you got something to do it.
do it. Yeah, that's right.
Do it.
That's right.
You
That's
do the
right.
best
Do
that
it.
you can with what you have. And that's the
That's
way they
right.
have done. I
That's
don't know
right.
whether I've answered the question that you asked, because I have a
You,
tendency not to answer them. But anyway,
you did good, Auntie. You really did good. So as we're talking, Auntie Lily, what advice would, because we only have a couple of minutes left,
yeah.
but what advice would you give young mothers? And I asked First Lady the same question. What advice would you give young mothers that are questioning their importance or significance as a mother?
First of all, we can't all be ready for motherhood, because a lot of people don't want children, as your first lady said. They don't care to have children.
That's
So
right.
if they don't care to have children, they're not going to be prepared to take care of them the way they should. Uh, so first of all, it has to be your attitude, your willingness to give to the children, because you're going to have to give more than they give to establish some kind of relationship there.
Mhm.
So be willing to give to the child the care and love that it needs. Put the child first. I don't say do everything for the child, but put the child first, because actually the child is learning from you. It can't learn from itself because it doesn't know. So you have to be willing to give of yourself
Yeah.
to your children and do the right thing by them.
Mhm.
That's all I can say. Because
Wow.
all the rest is if you give birth, the doctors and whoever help you with that. But it's you who have taken those children 9 months. You've
Mhm.
nurtured them internally, and you're ready to nurture them when they are born, and give
Mhm.
them the right tools to work with. And you
That's
can do
right.
that.
That's
You can
right.
do that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I truly believe that you can do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice, as you know.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
I don't
yes.
say give up everything, but sometimes
That's
you
right.
have to make
The
sacrifice
sacrifices. You're
for your
right, Auntie.
children.
You're exactly
So be
right.
willing to do that.
Yeah.
Be willing to do that. A baby is so cute and you love them to death.
Ah,
That
yeah.
isn't enough.
That's
That,
right.
particularly in
Right.
this world in which we're living,
Mhm.
they have to have some backbone, a strong foundation, and it's the mother who gives
Who
that.
gives them that? Yeah.
Nowadays, it's the grandmother or whoever. But
That's
remember,
right.
it's always the mother
Who
who is
gives?
responsible for
That's
that
right.
child in
That's
every
right.
way. Yeah.
That's right. Well, Auntie
Mhm.
Lilia, we're getting ready to go. I want you to give me the three words that describe you.
That describe me.
Yes, three
That
words
describe me.
yes, ma'am. Three words. And we're going to end on that note.
I'm funny,
Yes, you are.
funny,
Uh-huh.
lovable, and responsible.
Wow. Funny, loving, and responsible. Auntie, I love you. Auntie Lily. Pam, let me see that face again. Thank you, my darling. Thank you,
You're
Auntie.
welcome.
Love y'all so
Love
much.
you.
Thank
Thank you
Take
you.
for,
care.
yeah, thank you for being on the show, Auntie. I really learned a
Well,
lot.
listen. You describe me as a phenomenal person.
Phenomenal woman. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
I hope that I have shown
Yes,
that
you
I'm
have.
phenomenal and
Yes,
not
you
just
have.
plain a normal. I feel that I am a normal woman. Coming up when I did, I was born in '32. You see, I'm giving an
Wow.
age
You,
away,
yeah,
and
you already
that was
told it.
during the Depression.
Wow.
you had to be strong, and you had to have a strong mother
That's right.
and
That's
father
right.
to live in that era.
Yes, you did.
So,
Well, thank you, Auntie. Thank
well,
you
thank
so
you for
much.
having me. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. And thank you so much for letting me meet via TV your first lady
Yes,
of class.
of Claflin University.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
Mhm.
Pam. Love, I
Bye.
love y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening, okay?
You
Good.
too.
All right,
Thank
I'll
you.
talk with you later.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, listen, you heard it right here. The power of a mother's love. I tell you, I had two great guests, First Lady of Claflin University, Miss Lakeisha Warmack, and Miss Eulalia Powell, retired educator, my aunt, phenomenal women. I mean, I thank them so much for being on the show. I thank you for joining us. Listen, next week, you're going to meet a mogul. She is a phenomenal woman as well. She's a mother. She owns her own corporation. She's going to be with us, and she's going to have a lot to share with us. And so I hope you're going to join us next time. Thank you, Tiana. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you all for being such great, having a great production team, the whole team. Thank you. Remember, watch us on YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the Tammy TV Show YouTube channel. Until the next time, listen, take care of yourself. Have a blessed week, and make sure that you bless somebody today and every day. Love you much. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.